What's up guys, Blitz here today bringing you a video. Back in July, there was actually a Final Fantasy VII light novel that is canon to the story of Final Fantasy VII, written by the writer of Final Fantasy VII, Kazushige Nojima. It is a story that follows both Tifa and Aerith, and it talks about their past. Tifa's, so far, I believe this particular person that has translated it got up to about 58 pages. And once again, these aren't the official translations. These are fan-made translations, but they've I don't know, I've been told by a lot of people that this one's pretty good. I've been setting this one quite a lot, so I decided, you know, on stream we're gonna be checking it out. Let's get into this reading of Traces of Two Past, episode Tifa. Story time with Blitz. The wind blowing across the meadow caresses her hair, stirring up memories in Tifa Lockhart of her hometown. The winds that descend from the slopes of Mount Nibel towards the village used to always whip up her hair into a mess. Hey Tifa, you're used to this, says Aerith, pointing her finger towards the sweeping meadow of the grasslands. It hadn't been long since they met, yet Aerith felt like an old friend. Tifa turns her back towards another strong gust of wind that springs forth, billowing over the grass. They have an unexpectedly long journey ahead of them. Used to what? You mean the grasslands? Tifa turns to find Aerith now walking beside her. No, I mean walking like this. You know, through the meadows or the vast plains. Well, I don't dislike walking. Think of it as a form of training. Oh, so you're that type, I get it. But I do prefer hiking in the mountains because I get to see the changing landscapes. Same, I'm used to going on picnics, but I'm so over this. Well, this feels like hiking to me. Picnicking is more about the picnic baskets and just having fun. I see. So, Tifa, have you ever gone picnicking? Yeah, she recalls her childhood in the village. At least something like it, but I called it something else. What did you call it? Embarrassment comes flooding back to her along with memories of the events. Tea parties. Red 13 saunters past them with an amused snort. From his blazing red fur to his flaming tail, his physical appearance is, to say the least, that of a beast. Yet there is a great disparity between his outward appearance and his inner intellect. Something Tifa still isn't accustomed to. What were your tea parties like? I want to know, says Aerith with sparkling eyes. Sure, but where exactly should she begin? So now, Tifa's about to get ready to tell the story. Nibelheim is a small village located at the foot of Mount Nibel. Its history began when it was simply a destination spot for people seeking the mountain's uncommon flora and fauna. A mere settlement consisting of a cluster of households which provided meals and lodgings for mountain climbers. Not long after, Shinra, in search of a base for its cutting-edge research, away from any possible interference from the Republic of Junon, sets sight on its land. They discovered Mako energy there the following year in 1960, and thus began building a facility they named the Shinra Mansion. After this, they started the construction of the Nibel Mount Reactor, which had Shinra gathering workers and laborers from all over the country. The work ended in 1968. Damn, 8 years? It took them 8 years to make all that stuff up. It's pretty cool. At that time, the village was at its peak activity. However, the Mako reactor aged and kept deteriorating. It was only a matter of time before operations ceased. It's worth mentioning here that the village's inability to maintain their livelihood led to a decrease in its inhabitants. The disbursements from Shinra relating to land to use fees and management of Shinra's affairs was only the means of living for those who remained. Even after Shinra had settled their business, the aging facility would continue to support the town economically. Things could not continue. Oh my god. Yo! Could not support the town economically. Things could not continue this way. But even though... What the hell? But even though that, they... Okay, no, I was stupid. I was reading it wrong. My bad, guys. Things could not continue this way. But even though that thought weighed on everyone's mind, the jumbled, incoherent voices, full of oppression for the future, were carried off by the winds that blew from Mount Nibel and vanished. Next page. All right, that was already one whole thing. There were 4 kids in the village who were the same age as me. All of them were boys. We used to play together so often that our parents called us the Gang of 4. They were the members of my tea party, says Tifa. If we're counting you and those 4 boys you were with, Aerith asks, shouldn't there have been 5? Tifa says, well, one of them was Cloud. I wish he would just turn us down, but
Cloud!
most of the time...
Are you ignoring me?
He just ignores us. which led to so many fights. They thought he was a really strange kid and that he's also dangerous. And Tifa was just like, I wish Cloud would have just said, nah, I don't want to chill with y'all, instead of just ignoring them. Yes, it was that young Cloud Strife who would march on ahead of them as if he was the one in charge. Yo, Cloud was always an asshole. Leave that man alone, he got issues. Tifa was born into the Lockhart family in 1987. Her father's name was Brian and her mother's name, Thea. Hey, confirmation of her mom's name. Cool, cool. However, 8 years later, Thea passed away from her illness, and then ever since, Tifa had been raised by her father. The things he wasn't comfortable teaching her, the women of the village gladly stepped in to help. They taught her everything from sewing to cooking, or any other skill they felt a daughter should learn from her mother. Theirs was a village steeped in the old traditions of the Republic. Men worked outside while women maintained the household. There was a tendency for people to think that a woman's happiness depended on the man that she would spend her life with. Emilio, Lester, Taylor, and Tifa had been together since infancy. They were the eldest in their families, and all their mothers were close. The four of them grew up playing together, but ever since Tifa's mother passed away and her circumstances had changed, everyone began treating her as that poor little girl. Oh, that's annoying. Yeah, I'd be upset about that. When she turned 10 years old, she noticed that the way her friends looked at her felt different from before. Something happened over the summer, I'm guessing. Their gazes lingered with a budding awareness of her as a possible future life partner. This was followed by a persistence in the boys to insinuate their feelings and to compete with one another for her affection. Despite the weariness she felt all over their advances, their schemes to buy time alone with her, she found it difficult to turn them down because she knew it would hurt their feelings. So even though she didn't mean to hurt anybody, she pretended not to pick up on their romantic cues, and if any one of the boys made his intentions too obvious, she would dodge him with some vague reply. It wasn't long after that the boys started talking about leaving town. Damn, she friend-zoned those motherfuckers. The boys in Nibelheim were incensed with this talk. A successful career was waiting for them at Shinra. They were gonna get rich at Midgar. Psych! I promise you, 80% of those motherfuckers ended up in the slums. And technically, even Cloud made it back into the slums after he became a soldier. Each one held on to his own separate dream, yet the message she heard was always the same. There were promises to provide for her, to protect her. The pretty picture they painted of their future with her wasn't any different. To those boys, she stood as a symbol that they had succeeded in life, as a victory trophy. Ooh. Yeah, she don't like that shit. On her 12th birthday, her father gifted her a pair of wedge sandals, which she put on and went out for a stroll with. The sandals were the latest fashion for Midgar, but they were certainly not suitable for her usual village strolls. As she scrutinized each one of her steps, the village chief, Zonder, called her out. Why, if it isn't Tifa Lockhart, happy birthday! Our cat just gave birth to a litter, so how about taking one as a birthday gift? I already talked to Brian, come on over and see for one yourself. She had mentioned to her father of her desire to have a cat so many times before, and now her dream would finally be coming true. Tifa followed Zonder to his home, where she peeked into a wooden crate at the slumbering kittens. For a long time, she stood there and studied each one before finally making her choice. That one. We call him Maru. Well, he's gonna be yours, so you can keep the name if you want or change it to anything you like. But I hope you'll keep the name. On her way home, the kitten nearly bolted from her arms. Her frantic movements while trying to keep her from jumping made her lose her balance, and unable to brace herself in those stylish city sandals, she took an awkward tumble on the ground while shielding the kitten. Oh shit. Dr. Sanku diagnosed her with a sprained right ankle. My sandals were broken, and then the area where I had grazed my ankle got so infected I ended up in bed with a fever for a week. What made it even worse was finding out that Maru went missing because my dad accidentally left the door open. Oh shit. Yikes. When it rains, it sure does pour, doesn't it, Tifa? So wait, did you end up keeping the name Maru? My father involved the whole village in searching for that lost kitten. Our village chief must have told everyone my cat's name by then, so everywhere people went, they would call out for Maru. I know it sounds awful, but the cat and its name were two completely innocent things, you know? After her fever subsided, family friends came to visit. The joy she felt was short-lived, and by the third day, Tifa had had enough. It's too much trouble with people coming in and out every day, and I don't think I could finish all the snacks that they brought either. She needed some time to be alone. Don't say that, said her father. Then can I go outside? I want to help look for Maru too, and the doctor said I should try walking, remember? Alright, you can go the day after tomorrow. Well, what about tomorrow? Please, Dad? I have to go to the mountains. We're behind on repairs on that pathway to the Mako reactor. Bro, Tifa's dad is to blame for the shitty-ass bridge that keeps breaking. Hell yeah, I'm gonna roast that bridge, bro. Even Sephiroth broke his ankle falling from that bridge. That shit is whack. He's like, we're still building the bridge. And I'm like, man, it took you that long to put together a rope bridge? And it was trash? Yeah, Tifa's dad is to blame. What a bastard. I can do my walking exercises on my own. I promise I won't go anywhere outside the village. Her father brooded over the thought. Tifa had an idea on what was going through her father's head. He probably felt hurt by her words, and the idea of her not needing his help, no doubt, irritated him. Alright, now listen to me. What ensued was a long lecture of the do's and don'ts and every single precaution under the sun. Tifa listened without protest. The next morning, at the exact moment after her father had left for the mountains, as if waiting on a cue, a visitor was called on her. It was Cloud's mother, Claudia Strife. No way. I'm really sorry for coming in so early in the morning, but I wanted to bring him to you. There was a kitten nestled in Claudia's arms. It was Maru. Oh, thank you. Where did you find him? Cloud found him yesterday over at the mountain gate. I told him to bring the cat over to you right away, but that boy won't listen. So here I am instead. Oh shit. Of course Cloud was the one that found him. Yeah, Cloud's mom's name is Claudia. Claudia? Brilliant writing. Tifa thanked Claudia and then took Maru upstairs with her to the bedroom. Welcome home, Maru. Never thought Cloud would even knew about you. Oh, Cloud been peeping on her, bro. Cloud been like stalking Tifa and following her around town, bro. I'm pretty sure. More than positive.